Hey, this is the Intellectual Musician, and on today's episode, we will be talking about how to deal with creative blocks. Alright, so let's get on to creativity here. I find this can be quite a pernicious thing to have creativity blocks because it can really impact the quality of one's ability to express themselves creatively, because they find themselves in this situation where they're sitting down, they're at their workstation, and they're unable to come up with these ideas to solve issues that are causing these creativity blocks. Now, in order to truly answer this question, we must ask the basic question of what is creativity? Now, I found the dictionary definition, this one was very descriptive, and I think it really gives us the best example of what it is, which is the ability to transcend traditional ideas, rules, patterns, relationships, or the like, and create meaningful new ideas, forms, methods, interpretations, and etc. Originally, progressiveness or imagination. So, with this definition, what it's basically saying is we're looking at what has already been done, we're seeing patterns, and we are seeing things that have already taken shape, and we are improving upon them. Maybe not even improving upon them, but creating new ideas which in themselves provide some sort of value. So now that we've kind of established a definition here, let's talk about what actually creates a creative block situation. So as a performer, you might be having to take a solo, and you know the chord changes and you understand all of this, but you just can't seem to pull together an idea that you're completely sold on. Maybe you're a composer and you're trying to connect passage A to passage B. You really like those two passages, but the transition material between those two passages, you just can't seem to come up with the right way to go about creating the transition. Or maybe you're a producer and you're not really set on writing sheet music. Maybe you're working inside of a DAW, a digital audio workstation, and you're trying to create this sound effect, this sweeping sound inside of a chord, potentially, but you just don't know which settings and how you want to adjust the settings on that particular chord to make it have the exact effect that you want. So these are just three ways in a musical setting in which you could have a creative block. Although this just scratches the surface, there's thousands of ways in which creative blocks can occur. So now we need to get to the motive, the reason why they occur. And down here I have three things that I find often contribute to creative blocks, which are A, pickiness and high expectation; B, a lack of knowledge on a particular area; and C, a decline in motivation or inspiration. So let's address that first point. So if you're picky, you expect a masterpiece. If you expect only, the finest work, you're going to have a lot of resistance coming from within, because in order to get to that masterpiece, in order to get to that masterful, work of music that you're looking to aspire to, you have to go through a lot of terrible ideas. Thomas Edison, right, he tried to create the best filament for a light bulb, and he went through so many different materials, thousands of different materials, until he found the exact one that worked, that did the function that he was looking for. So in this case, having a high expectation and expecting to meet that within, your first try or your first couple of tries is going to lead to a lot of disappointment, and you're going to encounter a lot of creative blocks because you're not meeting those expectations. Secondly, back to our definition, it talks about the ability to transcend traditional ideas. So if you don't even know what the traditional ideas are or how they're constructed, how can you build upon these ideas? So what I'm saying here is, in order to be creative, you have to have a basis of knowledge to become creative with. If you have no knowledge whatsoever on the particular topic, whether it's composing, whether it's producing or performing a solo, then there's no way for you to take what has been done and build upon it, because you have no basis by which to build upon. And thirdly, and this is probably one of the most pernicious things that causes creative blocks, is just a lack of motivation or inspiration. And a lot of times this can happen through mental illness such as depression. If you experience depression, it can take a big hit on your ability to be creative, because your whole entire mood and your state of consciousness kind of sinks into a lower state. So now that we've established some reasons why creative blocks occur, we need to know how we can transcend this problem. Because in order to level up in music, in order to move on to the next stage, we have to learn to take our problems in regards to creativity and learn to find solutions. So, the very first thing that I would propose to you is that you must accept that you may not have the answer to your issue right now. Be okay with the fact that you are still in the process of finding the solution. Thomas Edison, back to him again, he was okay with the fact that he didn't know the answer. And so he went through and tested all these different materials, but in that process he was okay with the fact that he didn't have the answer to his problem until he found the solution. So just know, just like Thomas Edison, you're going through a very similar phase or a state in which you don't know the solution, but you're willing to test and find the solution. The second thing I'm going to propose is ponder potential solutions throughout the day. So instead of saying, okay, it is blank time, I'm going to set 1 hour aside to think about this problem and to work on this problem, what I would propose is that you think about the problem throughout the day, and you continue to ponder the problem on a consistent basis over time. So that way, when creativity comes to you, when solutions come to you, you can take those ideas and record them down, rather than having a limited time to ponder these questions about solutions and expecting to cram out some sort of a solution in a short period of time. The third thing I would say is to expose yourself to other forms of creative expression. Because whether it's music, visual art, theater, all these art forms filter down into a singularity, a single point, which is creativity. The medium by which it is expressed is not necessarily irrelevant, but it's the same exact fundamental thing that is occurring. The medium changes, yes, which does change the perception of the art, but the way in which it came forth is virtually the same, because it came from this creativity that we're speaking of. Fourth would be to learn more about the musical topic that you're dealing with. So if you're trying to write a big band piece, or if you're trying to produce a hip hop track, with like the chill hop sound, or if you are, learning how to take a rock guitar solo, how to do some lead guitar sounds. Well, you need to, have a very good understanding of how these systems work, how these things are constructed, how to proficiently go about, the traditional way of doing these things, because creativity only builds upon that. And so if you don't have an understanding, well, you're going to run into problem number 2, which is the lack of knowledge. And what that's going to do is create a lot of creative blocks, because you're simply not going to have the wisdom to create the solution. And fifth, and one of the most powerful solutions I'll present here, is to connect yourself with the sources of inspiration that inspired you to begin the path that you're on in the first place. Now, for me, if I feel uninspired, what do? I go maybe listen to Chick Corea, who is this amazing pianist, and I listen to his drummer, Dave Weckl, and I obtain some sort of inspiration, motivation from that. That creates a drive in me, because I love it on a very deep level. And so, I want to emulate their style to a degree with my own interpretation, and I want to build upon that. I see Chick Corea, Dave Weckl, and some of these other great musicians as the foundation that I will transcend and build upon. And so it reconnects me with my inspiration, and therefore gives me a sense of motivation and purpose in a moment where I might have lost touch with it. So I hope all this helps and gives you some general ideas about how to tackle creative blocks. Now, unfortunately, there's no magic pill solutions to it, and it's a highly pernicious thing, because it's going to happen. You can't avoid it. And so in order to tackle it, you must accept that this will happen during your journey, and you must be willing to take steps in order to transcend it. So with that being said, I'm the intellectual musician. Make sure, if you like this topic or you like this video, that you like the video down below, you subscribe to the channel, because I will be releasing more content like this. Thank you guys very much, and you have a wonderful day.